What are 15 dumb tourist mistakes in Barcelona?
Find out next on Jaycation.
Hey, what's up Jaycationers? Welcome back to another video here in the Barcelona series. And today we're gonna give you 15 dumb tourist mistakes that people make when visiting Barcelona here in the region of Catalonia. And I will be joined by a special guest, so stay tuned. He'll give out about 5 different tips. So let's get to the first one. Going to an American chain like the Golden Arches over here. In Barcelona, you'll see Burger Kings, you'll see Taco Bells, Mickey D's. You're only in Europe most likely for a few weeks. You don't want to eat here unless you're probably just craving it and all you have been eating is Spanish food. Maybe just one meal. Maybe you get one cheat meal to go to an American chain while you're away. But for the most part, it would be dumb to miss out on your Spanish food and your tapas or pincho. Just try not to eat at the American chains. Now, there's chains here that I like that are not American, like Honest Greens, but that's not American, that's Spanish. One big tourist mistake that I see here in Barcelona are a lot of tourists popping into like the supermarkets, whether it's in Plaza Catalunya or even La Barceloneta. They're gonna put the prices a little bit higher than in other supermarkets around town. You got places like Carrefour right behind me, but Mercadona, in my opinion, is the cheapest. Then I would say Carrefour, Bonpreu, and Consum. Those are ones that you all need to know. They do have prices that are decent and not tourist prices. One thing a lot of travelers do here in Barcelona is charge their credit card when they're shopping or at the restaurants. They go to the restaurant and they'll ask you whether your local currency or euro. You're gonna always want to charge in euro. You're always most likely gonna get a better rate from your bank or your credit card. I have Chase Sapphire Preferred, and whenever I go to Zara, I always charge it in euro, and I have 0 foreign transaction fees. I also get a better rate from Chase Sapphire. Make sure you're always charging in euro when you're here. And then ATMs, probably gonna want a couple of €100 while you're here just in case. Now, there's situations where you can't use a credit card. For the most part, the city is equipped for charging your credit card, but there are things like my tennis lessons that I've had to pay cash for, or my haircuts I've had to pay cash for. I thought Caixa was the best way to go, but they charge you €750 for the ATM fee. I went to Sabadell and it was only $4.50. Maybe these places like Sabadell or BBVA might be cheaper. You're gonna wanna call your bank, your institution, whether you're in the United States or somewhere else in the world, ask them if they partner with a Spanish bank and you'll get your lower conversion rates, and they might even take away those transaction fees.
What's going on, everybody? My name is Derek Alfaro, San Diego native from City Heights, California. Vista Barça. I'm over here with Jaycation. Subscribe to his channel. Yeah.
What's up, dude?
Yeah, what's up? Thanks, bro. Appreciate you.
All right, Jaycationers, so I haven't been back in Barcelona and living here in like 5 years, and I want more of a local flavor, somebody that knows the city more than I do. I thought of the perfect YouTuber, so let's call him over. We got Patrick from Patrick Guide Barcelona. What's up, dude?
Hey everybody, I'm good, man. How about you?
Awesome, man. So we're just talking about the 15 dumb tourist mistakes people make here in Barcelona, and guess what? We're gonna do the next 5. Cool with that?
Let's do it.
All right, man, make sure you guys subscribe to his channel. He's got amazing tips and information about Barcelona.
Another one of the dumbest tourist mistakes that I see here in Barcelona is everyone telling me that they get tapa'd out, having too many tapas and things like this. One of the things you need to do, especially for lunch, and keep in mind this is the biggest meal of the day, is check out the menú del día, the menu of the day, which is an incredible 3-course meal. You've got your first plate, second plate, dessert, bread, and a drink, all included for 10 to 15 euros. If you want to live like a local, if you want to save some money, that's the one thing that you need to make sure that you're taking care of. Monday to Friday, 10 to 15 euros. Best thing you can do over here.
And what time does it start?
Probably about 1:30 to 4:30. You can get those lunches. The other big mistake that I always see people making is thinking that Spanish is the main language over here. You have to keep in mind that you also have Catalan, and they're not dialects of each other. Catalan and Spanish are 2 separate languages. So while it's always good to learn a few phrases like buenos dias, hola, como estás, everything like that in Spanish, you should also really take some time to learn some Catalan as well. It really goes a long way, especially in those restaurants restaurants, even just going in and making that effort and showing that you've tried really just shows a big kind of appreciation for the culture as well. So remember, you're gonna see all of the things written a lot of times in Spanish, but on the streets and big signs, they have to be in Catalan. In museums, you're gonna have Spanish, Catalan, and English as well for all of those translations, but Catalan is a big deal over here that I think a lot of times goes underappreciated. 2 Catalan phrases, I'll give you the same ones we gave with Spanish. Instead of buenos dias, you can say bon dia, right? Hola is the same, so we can't really change over there. But if you want to say please, it's not por favor, it's si us plau.
Bienvenidos.
Another huge tourist mistake that I see all the time and people actually ask a lot about are the dinner time. Now, a lot of times you're gonna see restaurants that close down in the middle of the day. They're not even gonna open up until 7. So if you're there, you're the first people to be seated and you can maybe, have the kitchen open and start to eat dinner. One thing I did hear the other day from a couple was that they just used to kind of show up to these places a little bit early and tell people that they weren't there for dinner, but they're there for a really late lunch. 5, 6 p.m., you're not gonna be eating that dinner over here. A lot of times it's at 9 or 10 o'clock. And why all of that happens is because things here happen a little bit later. Breakfast, you're not gonna have really too much of a big meal at all. Mid-morning, around 11, 11:30, you might have a sandwich. Lunch is gonna be pushed back to 2 o'clock. It is the big meal of the day. But that means that dinner is gonna be a little bit later, 9, 10 o'clock, and a little bit of a lighter deal as well. Just remember, you're not gonna find a lot of those restaurants open for dinner around 5 or 6. Now this is always one of the harder questions that I get about safety in Barcelona and pickpockets and everything, and it is one of the unfortunate things that you're gonna find around here. My biggest thing that you need to avoid is just being dumb. Use that common sense. If people are getting close to you, that's one thing that should give you kind of a tip off, right? Don't let people get so close to you, especially in those crowded places like metros, on La Rambla, or around any of those bigger tourist attractions. Pockets. Always keep your belongings in your front pockets instead of those back pockets. Guys, especially if you're carrying those wallets around, move those over to the front. Don't try to be cool. Make sure that you're keeping them up there just so you can have a little bit more control. I don't know if you want to go over the top and put a backpack on your front and walk around. Usually that's done in museums so you don't hit anything in the back. Probably not going to notice if someone's kind of jumping into your backpack. It is a little bit harder as well. You don't have to wear that backpack on the front, but it does definitely keep your things a little bit more safe. Like I said, it is one of those things that's just really tough to deal with and everything. Don't feel like it's not a safe city at all. It is a very safe city, but keeping track of your belongings is going to be a very important thing while you're here in Barcelona.
And if you want to be like your boy Jaycation, he has zippered pockets. Zippered pockets and then money belts too, if you want to go a little further. And the inebriated people had a couple too many cognacs. That might also be the target that get pickpocketed.
Very easy to get caught.
So watch out then.
Another big mistake you'd be making if you come over to Barcelona, just thinking that you're going to take taxis everywhere. Well, they are cheaper than probably over in the States where you're coming from. One of the things that you want to do is you want to take advantage of the public transportation. I always recommend walking around, but there are places to get a little bit further, get there a little bit faster, over to the Sagrada Familia or any of those other big attractions. You definitely want to get onto the metro. It's very cheap, very affordable, a great way to get over there. There are places though that I would recommend taking a taxi. The Park Güell, which is very far outside of the city, you're definitely going to want to take that right there to get up right to the door. If you take the public transportation, you're still going to have to walk. You're going to be there in the heat like today. You're definitely going to be sweating. But make sure you're taking that public transportation. You've also got, apart from single tickets, all sorts of different discounts and deals that'll help you save some money.
What I've learned was that the bus system here is really efficient. And you're above ground so you can see and enjoy the Barcelona ambiance, right?
A cheaper way to kind of see the city as well, get around a little bit faster, maybe not take one of the tourist buses, right?
And for the airport, I think the Aerobus, the Aerobus, even though there's other options, that's the best way.
Best way, for me, the most efficient, fastest way to get over there. A little bit more expensive, but what happens when you take the metro or any of the other public transportations, it takes a lot longer. And let's be honest, we want to get to our flights on time. I think it's 6:90 now, something like that.
Exactly, so Aerobus for sure. Special thanks to Patrick for those last 5 dumb tourist mistakes in Barcelona. Now let's talk about the Gaudi landmarks and how you can access them without falling into any problems with tickets. When you do ask people like me or Patrick ahead of time if you should buy your tickets ahead of time, yes you should. And places like Park Güell, Sagrada Familia, you're gonna want to get your time tickets there. Even here in Casa Batlló, Casa Mila, down the street La Pedrera, you're gonna want your time tickets because look, there's crowds of people up front. If you come here the day of, chances are you're not gonna get in. Do it way ahead of time. When you book your plane ticket, also book your Sagrada Familia and your Park Güell tickets. I told my cousins that they're coming here in a couple of days and we already have our tickets. We have nothing to worry about because we have a time ticket. Just make sure you're there within 15 minutes before or after the time so you can actually use that ticket. This dumb tourist mistake that I'm gonna talk about next is a little bit of a nitpick one, but you're gonna wanna call Barcelona the right way. It's not Barca. People, my friends, even me, I could probably been a guilty culprit of it. I've used to say, let's go to Barca, but Barca is not the city. Barca is the team, the football club here. So you're gonna wanna use Barcelona. If you're Spanish, you can say Barcelona. Just say Barcelona, just say it the normal American way. That's totally fine to get you around. BCN is the airport, but BCN is also a good nickname. And Barna, according to our friend here behind the camera, Barna is also another nickname that you can use. The next dumb tourist mistake here in Barcelona would be not taking advantage of sitting out in a terrazza. This is one of the best things you can do while you're here. You can grab yourself a little caña and just people watch and just enjoy the electricity and the culture of the city. We're here in La Barceloneta at Bar Bodega Electricitat, and like I said, electricity, and you get to feel it here. Now be aware, there is usually a 10% terrazza fee at most establishments around the city, but that should not deter you from sitting out here because especially during the summer, you get a nice breeze and it's just a better atmosphere. You'd really be dumb to be sitting inside in the heat in a restaurant when you could be outside under an umbrella and just hanging out.
This is actually an old electricity plant. That's why it's all looking like this, why it's got the name. One of the best in Barceloneta.
So you guys are gonna call me a hypocrite because I'm gonna give you the next dumb tourist mistake, and I've done this mistake over and over again in the past. You guys know I collect Starbucks mugs throughout the years. Well, they still have those Starbucks mugs here, but you can't always come back and get those mugs, right? And I usually go to Starbucks, get a mug and get a coffee. But coffee there is like 5 to 6 euro. Well, here in Barcelona, you can get your cafe con leches at places like Bra Cafe for like $2.50 or even cheaper than that. A lot of cafes here in Barcelona sell their cafe con leches for cheap, and they're so much better than Starbucks. Another problem that I find tourists running into here, and it could become a dumb tourist mistake, is not finding a restroom, especially when you really need to go. I just took a tour group around here a few weeks ago, and they had to go to the restroom, and luckily we were close enough to this area where there's this Sports El Corte Inglés. Second floor Nike, I always use it here at Porta de Angel in this area. I use that, but one thing I would say is every time you dine, have a meal, grab a coffee, grab a beer, use that establishment's restroom before you leave, especially if you don't need to. You'll be like, hey JJ, well I don't need to. Well, force yourself, because believe me, you'll be walking around later on and be like, where's the restroom at? And then you just don't want that to happen. Make sure you take advantage of your restaurants and bars and cafes and this El Corte Inglés. Hop in here, second floor, Nike.
It's probably the #1 place that I've gone to the bathroom, but if you're not close enough and you really need to go, over in the Born, they've got the Born Cultural Center. Great bathrooms, free museum as well, very clean and pristine.
Good call, man. And when there's festivals, they also have porta potties sometimes around those areas too, so you could use those porta potties. Another question I get a lot on my channel, and I'm sure Patrick does too, is about Wi-Fi and data service here while in Barcelona, especially if you're coming from America. For me, I have T-Mobile, and I can get T-Mobile here for free. I can use my iMessage and I can use my data, but they only give me 5 gigs. And after that 5 gigs, it's over. And for me, I live stream a lot, right? So if you want to stream and watch your Netflix and your YouTube without connecting to Wi-Fi, I would say go to a Vodafone or an Orange and get yourself a SIM card. 190 gigs, 40 euros is what I'm paying per month to use a Vodafone Spanish number, and I don't have to worry about excessive fees. Now, if you're not T-Mobile and you have like Verizon or something else from America, you might actually be getting charged these fees, and just to get away from that, use a thing like Vodafone, or if you're in a restaurant or even in El Corte Inglés or in the public areas, they do have free public Wi-Fi, so you could connect to that. I delved in on this on the Rip-Offs Barcelona video, but I want to reiterate it again. Here on Las Ramblas, they do have a ton of restaurants. Most of them are definitely tourist traps, and they're not the best. You could go to Mercadona and grab all those ingredients pre-made and just have it in your hotel or apartment or wherever you're staying. Most of the places here are overpriced and they're just not that good. Their sangrias are like over sugared, too much water. What I would say is watch videos like Jaycation and Patrick Guide Barcelona and find out some of the best local restaurants or the more popular restaurants to hit up. If you go to the Rambla de Catalunya, Terrazza, Ciudad Condal. You guys know that's my #1 spot in all of Barcelona, and it's literally just a 2-minute walk from here. And Honest Greens is probably the only place that I would eat here in La Rambla. It's not even open yet. I might not even eat there because it's just gonna be way too crowded. Look how many people are behind me right now. Patrick, you got anything to add?
I don't think I've eaten on this street since 2010.
Never? Wow, man. I don't think I've ever eaten here before, period. Does the Boqueria Mercat count?
You got me there. All right, I have to rethink that.
I mean,
that year.
You're technically inside the Mercat and you're not on La Rambla.
And technically in the Revolve.
We're talking about like having an actual seat at a restaurant on this street we're standing on right now. Special thanks to Patrick from Patrick Guide Barcelona. Make sure you check out his channel. He's got amazing tips, and I just love his monthly updates about Barcelona. You'll gain tons of information and just up-to-date stuff about this beautiful city. One little bonus tip is you're gonna see these B-Sing bikes around here, and if you're not a local, you can't use these. So tourists can't really use it unless you find a secret way to get a B-Sing card, but you can get Bolts or a brand called Donkey Republic, and there's a few other bike companies here that you could rent, and they're e-bikes, but they cost a little more. So like you rent one for like 15 minutes, you spend like 6-7 euro, and it's kind of a little pricey, and that adds up. But that's just a little bonus tip for you. Anyways, guys, if you like this video, check out my Barcelona series. Check out my rip-offs, tourist traps, and scams of Barcelona up here. Subscribe to Jaycation, and much love. Like the video. And thanks again to Patrick Guide Barcelona. Subscribe to him. See you next time, Jaycationers. And in the words of me, stay traveling. Barcelona. Adios.